Take your place in the Coaching Lounge. Be inspired by discussions with motivational guests, compelling speakers, key people of influence, and models of success. Learn unique processes, strategies, and tips that will transform your life. Tune into previous episodes on www.thecoachinglounge.co.uk. Like our page on Facebook via The Coaching Lounge. Follow us on Twitter @Satellite Coach. Thank you for joining your host, Rebecca Gordon, in The Coaching Lounge. Tune in, relax, engage, and transform your life now. The Coaching Lounge. My guest today is Mr. Jeff Beale, and Jeff has joined us all the way from Atlanta, Georgia, in the States, to be here with us to talk about marketing insights for small businesses and entrepreneurs. It will be a great show because there are some key questions that I need to ask Jeff, particularly about marketing for the small business owner and how they position themselves in such a busy market space. And the reason why I've chosen Jeff to come and talk to me about this is because I know that Jeff is a driven, passionate, and experienced marketing strategist and author. His work is all about helping businesses unlock their full potential and gain a significant foothold within their own industry, a position that will allow them to finally generate higher converting leads according to the principles of authority marketing. And hey, that's what we all want. If we've got a business, we want to know how we can really generate and convert leads. Now, with such a mindset, Jeff is keen on embracing the most innovative and forward-thinking ways for a business to gain massive social exposure, including social media and marketing 2.0 strategies. So we will hear a lot about that from Jeff today. And then lastly to say, Jeff is also a speaker, an in-demand speaker, and he travels the world entertaining and educating his audiences, sharing his precious insights. Jeff Beale, Mr. Marketology, thank you for joining me in the Coaching Lounge. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, and that's the best intro ever.
Okay. Well, marketing is one of those things that it's actually the business, isn't it? And it's one of those things that it can be difficult to do, but I don't think it has to be that challenging. And this is where you come in. I mean, you're an expert in marketing. You've been involved in this industry for over 12 years now. How did you get into it?
Well, I kind of talked my way into it in a sense. When I first started out, I was in the military and helping with one of their symposium events, and they were looking at getting more registration. So me being the guy that I am, I was pointing out some things that they could do to improve, and they kind of put me in that department. And so from there, the added tasks, I started learning more and more about it. Got out the government sector into the corporate sector, and with that, then started doing marketing full-time. Went from the corporate government sector, because they were focused on government, to agencies, and then from agencies to some in-house with some wonderful companies, and then from there to actually consulting some great companies. So that's pretty much a short brief of how I became involved in the marketing sphere.
Fantastic. And in your time, in that length of time, you've actually worked with some major media outlets, such as the Wall Street Journal. Who else have you worked with?
Well, I've worked with CBS, NBC, CNN, and some others. I've had some great partnerships and great people getting the word out for me. So right. I appreciate it every time.
Yeah, and you've worked with them with a view to helping them to develop their marketing practices.
Yes, and companies they were more of helping spread the word. Companies like Turner and TNT, TBS, Home Depot, Apartment Guide, AT&T, and some others. I really helped them with their marketing strategy in particular.
Right.
The first outlets, they were more of getting my point of view and helping craft some things that they were doing and sharing with others, where the latter was more of a actual consultation, hands-on, working with these companies.
I see. Okay. Now, I particularly want to talk to you about the small business owner and the entrepreneur, maybe that lone worker who's starting off and marketing is a bugbear for them. Now, I've looked at your website, I've read about you, and I know you're an author, and I'm getting the energy and the impression that you eat, breathe, and sleep marketing. So you're, the authority on helping the small business owner and entrepreneur go from good to great. So my question to you is this, Jeff, based on that premise. If someone is just starting out and they may have limited funds to plough into their business, whether they're, it's a small business or an individual, what are some ideas for marketing on a shoestring?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question. I really first tell them to start with the nucleus of it all. And the nucleus of it all is to first identify who your target audience would be. I mean, who is that ideal customer? And then study that customer. Find out their behaviors. Are they a social persona? Are they the type that listen to media outlets and takes that as the gospel? Are they the type that really look at advertisement? And if so, what types? You have to understand the target before you can aim for it. And so from there, then you can look at some things and get some low-hanging fruit to market to them. Because here's the thing, marketing is just getting your message out. But if you don't know who you're talking to, it's hard to craft the right message to get them engaged.
Right, so it's making that connection with the person
Yes.
who resonates with what you're saying. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes, okay. So in terms of, if that's the starting point then, and then you're moving from there and you're wanting to build up to increase your customer base and, get customer loyalty, and you're still working on a shoestring, on a limited budget, what ideas can you support somebody with?
Well, first thing I would say is the old cliche, content is king. Find ways to get valuable content in front of that target audience. So let's give some examples of that. One could be your blog. You may not have a lot of capital to hire a content management or content manager or even a team, but you can maybe sit down on your weekends, your downtime, write a couple of articles. Nowadays, content can be even video. If you go to my site, you'll see a lot of mine is more video based.
Yeah, I've noticed
and that's
that.
because it's easy. You take your cell phone, record what you want to say, and you can put it up. One of the other ways is what you're doing right now. You're broadcasting a podcast, and that's getting information out there. And it's a low cost way of getting your message out there. Social media is huge if you're saying the right things, if you're actually engaging with your audience. And a lot of companies do social media incorrect because what they do is they utilize it like advertisement. It's a push marketing approach where they just tell you they're the greatest and tell you what the new specials are. And social media is not that type of venue. It's a two-way conversation, more of an engagement. So you want to first listen and then respond and then talk with your actual audience. So that way they feel like you're the go-to when it comes to whatever you offer.
Okay. And so in terms of, you've mentioned actually, if I can just go back a bit, just backtrack a bit, you said, blogging or video or podcasting. And I tried blogging because I like writing and I figure I'm quite a good writer. But I just felt, there's masses of competition, it's to find the time. So really, I mean, what I'm indicating is choose the medium that fits well with you, rather than forcing yourself to do blogging when actually, okay, it might not be the right way to go about pushing yourself through there and building up your expertise. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree with you. I'm not a blogger. I particularly, I overthink writing. So for me to record, as you can see, I love talking. Talking works for me. And then one of the things you can look at is you can talk and say what you want and then hire either an intern or someone from Fiverr, Odesk, one of these marketplaces out here, and pay a low cost for them to either transcribe or take your thoughts and create an article from it. Mm-hmm. So that's a way to actually blog without sitting down and writing. The key isn't actually the tool, it's actually the message.
Right.
And that's what makes you different. I mean, like your podcast is different than everyone else's podcast because you're actually the one doing it. It's your personality. It's your expertise that's being portrayed, and that's what people gravitate toward because you can actually have two of the exact same topics being presented by two separate people, and one's more charismatic to the audience, where another one, they may focus more on a technical aspect where the audience that are very analytical will gravitate toward them. So, the old saying of be true to yourself, that's the best way to approach it. And a lot of times we get caught up in the shiny new toy. We get caught up in, everyone says they're using Facebook or Twitter or Google or all these other tools out here, mediums out here, but it might not be right for you. Find out what's right for you.
Okay. Now, I'm just going to touch on a couple of things that you've mentioned there, actually. The first one, you've actually spoken about, the Facebook and social media marketing and the way to do it, the two-way conversation. So this question, I'm reflecting on myself here now. Because I am very much, I'm a life coach, I teach, I stand up in front of audiences and I deliver. And that's great because I, go into a different energy there and I love doing that. But I do recognize actually I'm more of an introvert, I'm not an extrovert. So if it is that I'm, because it's about putting yourself out there, how does an introvert do marketing? Does that question make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
And
is it valid?
The key to that is still being true to yourself. If you're an introvert, you can have somebody represent you in a sense. So, for instance, let's take you for example. You doing this podcast allows me to do a lot of the talking, and you're still getting your brand out there. And what I mean by that is you don't really have to put your face on it. You can either have a spokesperson, or if you're marketing, you can market in a way that you're not really interacting with your audience in a one-to-one or one-to-many basis, but your message is getting out there. So a lot of times you'll find, let's use yourself, you'll find that you have to get in front of a crowd to speak. But if you're, let's say, conducting a podcast, you can actually have a business brand and then have someone else do the moderation. And so that way you're not really interacting with your guests, but your brand is interacting with your guests and people know your brand. So that's another way of doing it. So there's several ways that you can market as an introvert. You would just have to find out first of all, how can I get my message in front of them in the way that they receive it? And then figure out the details afterwards of how do I put something or somebody in place to do it where I don't have to actually interact personally with them.
Okay, excellent tips there, because especially if someone is coming into business as a new business owner, or working by themselves and having to automatically get out there, it can be a little bit daunting at times. Okay, so you mentioned that Facebook is a two-way platform for conversation, listening and responding. What are some of the common mistakes made in marketing?
I think the biggest mistake made in marketing is not identifying your audience and speaking to them in a way that they receive you. That's the biggest mistake. A lot of companies get, like I say, excited with the new platforms or the new tools out there, and they do with the old method of marketing, which is push marketing. And that's somebody yelling pretty much, this is what I have, this is what I offer, you should buy from me. That way used to work, but now with the new social media and everybody basically has a voice, it's harder to use that technique. So I would say that's the biggest mistake in marketing, is not understanding your audience and just forcing a message down their throat.
Right, I see. And you've spoken about, techniques that used to work, push marketing, and now it's the reverse of that, pull marketing. What are some of the latest trends in marketing that a small business owner needs to be aware of right now? I mean, I know that you have, you work with 2.0 platform.
I would say some of the strongest ones out there, the Google Enterprise. And what I mean by the Google Enterprise, Google Plus, Google Hangouts, YouTube, what's another Google platform? All these platforms, Google Search, all these platforms work together under the Google umbrella. So if you deliver your content through those platforms, you can see multiple benefits. Another one would be mobile, depending on your actual business model. But marketing through mobile means everyone's on the go. Everybody has a tablet and a phone. And so getting in front of them where they are, mobile is one great way of doing that. Of course, we talk about Facebook and Twitter and all these others, but those I would say are ones that are very strong. Right. But of course, once again, understand your industry and your market and your audience and figure out what's the tool for them.
Because it is instantaneous, isn't it? It's now, getting that information out there now in real time. Okay.
Yes.
So what we're going to do now is just have a short break, and we will be back on the other side with Mr. Marketology, Mr. Jeff Beale, where we'll be talking about being an authority in your industry and some other marketing concepts.
Usually, we struggle through life alone, with outdated beliefs and self-sabotaging actions that bring the same results. How different would it be if you had a personal success coach who helped you make the shift and create a plan for happiness? You will fearlessly align your values, achieve important goals, and reframe your perspective when you have coaching with me. Email Rebecca at info@satellitelifecoaching.com. Book your free discovery session and change your life.
Relax in the coaching lounge and engage with compelling, motivational speakers. Be prepared to transform your inner world to shape your outer world through empowering discussions. Tune into thecoachinglounge.co.uk now.
You're here with me in the Coaching Lounge. I'm your host, Rebecca Gordon, and I have with me today Mr. Jeff Beale, aka Mr. Marketology. What a great name, Jeff. Did someone give you that name, or did it just come along because of your expertise?
Actually, it came along because of the expertise. My approach to marketing, I looked at it, a lot of people have it as a science, and it is a science to it. But what I looked at it, whenever you see the word or the ending ology, usually it means a formula, a combination of different methods in order to do something. So I looked at marketing and I looked at methodology, and it pretty much combined the two.
Right, I see. Okay, great. And we're talking about, so much competition in the marketing field and, all the blogs that people are writing, all the great work and great messages that are out there. Sometimes it's very easy to become swamped, with all the things that come into the inbox or, the flashes of inspiration that we gather from one source or the other. How can someone position themselves as an authority in their industry?
Well, position yourself as an authority in the industry basically is a technique of getting influencers to say that you're the expert. A lot of times what companies will do is they'll toot their own horn. And you saying you're the greatest can go but so far. But if someone that's respected in your industry or respected by your audience says that you're the greatest, it goes a lot further. So there's a lot of ways to do it, whether that's a media outlet like CBS, CNN, and so forth, or it's a blogger that's well respected, or a social person that's well respected. Think about back when we used to market back before the internet. What would they do? They would get a celebrity to endorse you.
Right.
So it's the same concept, but the great thing is now you can have so many more influencers that aren't entertainment celebrities or political celebrities.
So it's affiliation really, and getting someone else to be, that vehicle.
Exactly.
Itself. Yes, I see. Okay. And in terms of, you've mentioned the Google search, Google Hangout and Google Plus, etc. Driving traffic to a website without focusing so much on the Google rankings, is that possible to do? How can that be done?
It's very possible. And what I say is what to do when Google fails you. There's only 10 results per keyword. Well, that's changed now that it's personalized, but out of the whole concept, there's only 10 results pretty much on the first page of Google for a particular keyword. So focusing on that should be a byproduct and not the actual goal, because you can get your target audience to your website with other means. So let's take a local mom and pop shop that's looking to grow their business. You can focus all your efforts on Google, or you can focus it on something like Yelp, where, Yelp talks about local businesses in a geographical area, and it gives reviews and so forth. But that's good, but a lot of consumers actually utilize Yelp, especially while they're on the go with the Yelp app and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. Same thing when it comes to, let's say, Pinterest. Pinterest targets women, but if you are a visual type-based company like art or a restaurant, and take pictures of your food or your artwork, Pinterest can drive a lot of traffic to your website, disqualified traffic. So there's other means out there.
Right, I see. So it's just being smart about it, really, isn't it? And like you say, it is about the audience that
exactly.
Where your audience is. I see. So what you've mentioned there, and we're talking about the difference now of distinguishing between online and offline marketing. Can you tell me more about offline marketing? Because, would you agree that it's very much about social media, about being online and being visible out there and, getting your message out, which seems to probably be quite predominant for probably someone who's a small business owner or an individual. And offline, how can someone capitalize on the offline marketing?
Yes, a lot of times people will say offline is dead, and it's not. It's just the methods have changed. So while you're doing your offline marketing, it's still about understanding your customer. We'll use billboard marketing or business card marketing. Let's say business card marketing, because most small businesses have business cards. You passing out business cards, they say about 80 to 86% of your business cards gets thrown in the trash. So
that's quite high, isn't it?
Yes, it's a very high ratio. And so companies may say, well, why get a business card? It makes no sense because they're going to get thrown away. But if your business card, let's say, has a special offer that if they go to this address that's on your business card through either a physical link or a QR code that takes them to your website where they register with their name and email, which you can then market to them email market-wise, now offline marketing makes sense.
Okay.
Because now you've captured a lead that you can nurture to sell to again and again and again.
That's a very good example. Can you offer another one, please?
Yes. Another method of offline marketing would be, let's say that you are out, let me think, offline direct mail. Direct mail is a lot like business card marketing, and billboard marketing is a lot like business card marketing. You taking that message and then directing them to your website to capture them, to convert them to an online lead helps. But let's use something that a lot of people use up until the internet became so social, television. A lot of times you'll see commercials on television, and the commercials on television have changed, but people spend a lot of money on commercials on television, even if it's the late night infomercials. But now you can actually take that and you can integrate it with on-demand methods, and those on-demand methods even have click to purchase. Now, for a small business, that may be something that's a little bit out of reach budget-wise, but you can leverage smaller channels and get it within your budget. You don't have to go after the nationally syndicated channels, especially if you're a local serving business. You can go after the local business, the local radio stations. You can have a radio show with your local AM station, but then stream it through online media. And now you've taken an offline source, you become an authority, and you're streaming it to get them to your website to download the archives, which you can, of course, capture their lead and follow up and so forth. So there's many different ways you can do it.
Right. And can I just ask, I mean, I know you work with corporates and many, larger companies. I mean, do you do a lot of work nowadays with the smaller business owner and individuals?
I do a lot of coaching and consulting with the small, and I help them with that aspect of identifying not only their audience, but identifying their unique selling proposition, and then creating strategies for them.
Right.
Now, I don't do a lot of the heavy lifting as far as implementation for the small business anymore, but I give them ways in which they can implement it based on what I found about their business. And like I said, there's resources out there like Odesk and Fiverr and Guru and 99 Designs, Elance. There's a lot of resources out there. So based on their need, I can direct them on how they can get it done, or what makes sense for them to do it in-house. Okay. So we'll put together a schedule.
Okay. So we're talking about being an authority, and positioning yourself strongly in a busy marketplace. How does an entrepreneur generate leads through thought leadership? Can you explain that concept and that process, please?
Yes. I mean, being a thought leader, my sister told me best, and my sister Anna is in leadership. And so she works with companies like USAA and Esurance now and so forth, teaching them leadership. And she told me something that was very insightful, that a thought leader is a person that has a strong opinion about a certain topic and is willing to express their opinion and pretty much have proof, have backing for it. So, a lot of times we look at the thought leader because they're the person in the front of the room. A lot of times people get caught up with the thought leader because, he has to be the smartest or she has to be the smartest person in the room. And that's not really true. You just have to have your take on what it is, whatever that topic may be, and then be able to stand by your opinion, stand by it. A thought leader does not always agree, even if it's the status quo. That's what makes thought leaders. I mean, for instance, I've done SEO for years, but I don't always just out the gate say you need SEO for your business. Sometimes I'll tell a company I wouldn't even be concerned with ranking on Google because of what I found from their business model and their audience. So, to be an authority and a thought leader, you just have to have your own take on it, your point of view, and be able to articulate that point of view and stand behind that point of view. Right,
okay. So therefore people are then attracted to that person who is able then to get the leads because they're putting their head up and they're, probably saying something contrary to the main thoughts that are there. And so therefore,
Exactly. It's just like with your coaching. You don't tell people the exact same thing for each person because each person is different. Mm-hmm. But what makes you a great coach is you understand your client, and then you tell them based on what your knowledge of their situation and their particular market. This is the direction I would say take. And any company can do the same thing. Any entrepreneur can do the same thing. If you're a chef, you may not, believe in the let's be honest. There's chefs that believe that you can cook fast food and it'd be healthy fast food. That's contrary to industry speak. Industry says fast food's bad for you. But there's some chefs out there that have millions of followers that give you quick, down and dirty tips on fast food, how to make fast food healthy and affordable. So
right, okay. So I mean that is positioning yourself and being confident about it as well, isn't it? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Great. Yes. Okay. So on that note, then, I mean, this works very well with the next question. I think, talking about thought leadership and how you're actually being unique in your message. If somebody has a particular message, what's some strategies that they can use to affiliate themselves with the press?
One would be press releases, but not press releases in the way that most people do a press release talking about this is my company and this is why we're great and this is what we're doing, but more of this is what's going on in the market and this is my take on it, or this is something that has changed our market and this is why I feel. People love quotes. Doing a quote within a piece that a journalist has. There's something called Help a Reporter Out. It's HERO. You can go on there and reporters and journalists are asking all the time about help with different articles, and they quote you on that. I was able to get on CIO Magazine's website just giving my opinion about a certain topic.
Right.
So that's one way socially.
Okay.
Get involved. Get in the conversation.
So that's
get on
called
Twitter
help a reporter out.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I've not heard of that.
Reporter out. It's a great tool, and what they do is they email you. The reporters will go to them and say, "This is the topic. This is the deadline." And then you on their subscription list, so you'll get an email every day with the new topics from the different media outlets that these journalists are looking to get an expert to talk on.
I wonder if is that just in the US or is it international?
I am not sure if but the websites they are international websites. So
right.
I guess the answer to that I would say yes.
Yes, okay.
And it's a free service. That's the great thing. It's a free service.
I mean, certainly with the technology and, access to the news and everything, the world is such a small place. So really, it doesn't really matter whether they are just US based, anyone who's got a message and it connects with what the reporter's needing could still certainly use that. I'm just saying that because, as you know, I'm based in the UK, and a lot of the listeners who tune in are UK based. But it's about sharing the message and spreading the
Exactly.
information.
And a lot of them are, like I say, big syndicated websites. And so with these big syndicated websites, they have a global audience. So even though they may have targeted the U.S., it's a global reach. And if you look at the topic, if the topic is not specific to one region, then you can leverage it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, Jeff, what's next for you then?
Well, next for me, I'm working on a couple of series. I'm working on one series that's what to do when Google fails you. So I'm working on one series to talk to businesses about how to market without focusing solely on ranking in Google. I am working on a course, an SEO course, to train I guess you would say, startups with how to optimize their sites. I actually have a series of talks called the Marketing Strategy Session. And so that's talk with other experts out there about their take on different marketing topics.
Mm-hmm. I've tuned into some of those. They're very good, I will say. Excellent.
Oh, I thank you.
Yeah.
But my intros, I can definitely learn from you. Your intros are so much better.
Oh, thank you, Jeff. Thank you. And there's a question I wanted to ask you, which was based on your book. Please tell us about your book.
Oh yes, the Influencer Breakthrough. Basically, in this book, we're talking about how to be a leading expert in your industry. And when I wrote in the book, of course, my audience really were enterprise level and talking about how their departments can work together to achieve the goal. What I found in enterprise companies or companies with multiple departments, it doesn't have to be enterprise, but with multiple departments, a lot of times the departments had their own agenda and they didn't mix, they didn't mesh at all.
Right.
And so how can you get everybody on board with the common goal for the company involved? And same thing with entrepreneurs and smaller businesses. This applies. Now, you may not have several departments, but you do work with a web designer here. You may have a webmaster. You may have a copywriter. You may have somebody that's your admin, your virtual assistant. You have your actual employees that actually fulfill whatever you offer. How can you get everybody basically involved in your way of doing business, your culture? And how can you get all of your marketing methods, whether it's social or search or display or offline, how can you get everybody on the same page and actually market with the same ultimate goal in mind? Now, they may have smaller goals, but the ultimate goal in mind, and get them, moving toward their goals. So that's basically what my portion of the book is about. Mm-hmm. And it's great because they talk about several different aspects of a business, and not only marketing your business, but also in maintaining the operations of the marketing.
Right, okay. And that may be another show, perhaps at some point. Now, as I'm hearing all this fantastic, knowledge and information that you're sharing with us, I must ask you this question before we depart. And the question is, what drives you? I mean, I can hear the confidence, the commitment, the passion. What drives you?
I think it's about community. And I really think that when it comes to marketing, and I love marketing, I talk about it all the time, think about it all the time. Marketing is getting a message out, and that message helps a business grow. And this is how it ties into the community. If you as a business know your customer and you know their needs and you're offering a benefit and you know how to articulate that benefit and you're thinking with the mindset of how can I be a better service to my customer, then we have better businesses in the community. And you make more money, which means that you can help feed more families because you can employ more people. And all of that helps grow the community. So it really helps with marketing because you're thinking, how can I help someone else? How can I help? A lot of times companies will take marketing as how can I help myself? How can I get more revenue? But if you take the approach of how can I help others and get my message out there to show that I actually have something to bring to the table that's a benefit, and then you grow your business that way, everyone wins.
That's a great question. How can I be of better service to my customers? And it reminds me of something I read, when the CEOs are meeting and it's to do with Apple and they're wanting to develop a new product or concept. They actually have a figure of a customer, like an object or something that represents a customer in the middle of the table. And that's the objective, that's the focus there. So, all the marketing is driven purely to meet the needs of the customer, which, as you say, is, the way it should be and the way it needs to be. So you're doing amazing work. And, yes, please look at Jeff's website, which is, Jeff?
It's MrMarketology.com. That's MrMarketology.com. And I have strategy sessions, some cases that you can look at. Hopefully it'll provide you some insight to help guide you to help market your company a little bit better.
Superb. Mr. Marketology, Jeff Beale, thank you so much for joining me in the Coaching Lounge.
Thank you so much. It was an honor.
The Coaching Lounge.
Think big for a moment. If you could create your best life, how would this look? What if, in just 30 minutes, you had a plan of action to get closer to your dream? Make the impossible possible and claim your free session today. Visit www.satellitelifecoaching.com now.
Take your place in the Coaching Lounge. Be inspired by discussions with motivational guests, compelling speakers, key people of influence, and models of success. Learn unique processes, strategies, and tips that will transform your life. Tune into previous episodes on www.thecoachinglounge.co.uk. Like our page on Facebook via The Coaching Lounge. Follow us on Twitter @SatelliteCoach. Thank you for joining your host, Rebecca Gordon, in The Coaching Lounge. Tune in, relax, engage, and transform your life now.